Hello, my name is Charles, and in today's video, I am going to talk about why everyone, or why 99% of people, are an addict. Shocker. And why the spirit, the soul, as it were, why quiet joy in the soul or spirit in relationship with God is really the only way for 99.9% of people to escape the addiction of wanting. Dun, dun, dun. So let me explain, right? Let me give the rundown, right? Your happiness and your well-being cannot be fully dependent upon the gratification of your next desire, or of your desires in general. And the reason that is, right, is because let's look at it this way, okay? Let's do a little comparison. So an addict, right, an addict for a drug or alcohol, right, their happiness and well-being, they perceive at least, or they think at least, that it's dependent on the next time they get the drug or alcohol. And with other people, right, if we, let's say, desire food, money, success, the next car, the next, experience, the next time you jump out of an aircraft, you skydiving, take shrooms, go surfing, talk to your friend, social media, get famous, whatever it is. If your happiness is solely dependent on the gratification of your next desire, then you got three options that are going to be just like an addict. You're either going to get the thing and you're going to be happy and you're going to be like, see, I got the thing and now I'm happy. And then what happens? Just like an addict, it only gives you so much pleasure and joy. And then, you got to go get the next thing, right? And you're just like an addict. You got the thing and you got to go get the next thing. Right? You got the Starbucks coffee, and guess what? The next day, you got to go get the Starbucks coffee again. And that's addiction. And so, right, next is, what happens if you don't get the desire, right? Okay, let's say now, you think your happiness is dependent upon, let's say getting a cool sports car, and you don't get it. Well, now you're sad, mad, irritated, depressed. You name the negative emotion, you're that. And so just like an addict, the addict, right, with alcohol or drugs, when they don't get the alcohol or drug, they're sad, mad, irritated, anxious, depressed. They're the exact, it's more physiological, right? Because drugs will have, chemical dependence, but pretty much the same thing. You're pretty much an addict. And then the third option, all right, is, or you invent a philosophy on, why you shouldn't want those things in the first place, right? And, I am a Christian, and I'm even proposing that you be in touch with spirit and with a lived experience, in touch with spirit and with God as a way out of the addiction. And I still know that, look at some of the pastors in Catholicism, what they've done, right? They're saying like, you shouldn't want those things, and then they still want them. So it's like, okay, here we are. We have 99% of the population has an addiction to wanting stuff. We're just wanting machines. Humans, you get a little bit of good food, you want more good food. You get a little bit of this, you want more of that, And so, what do we do? What do we do? Here we are, wanting things nonstop. What do we do? And that's where being in touch with the Spirit and with God is pretty much the only solution and the true spirituality to getting out of that trap. Right, of my happiness is dependent on when or if I get the thing, whatever that thing may be, right? Because it can't be fully dependent on it. But it's not that you're going to stop wanting things, because even if you are in touch with spirit or soul or God, you are not going to not want food, not want good coffee, or, your devoted relationship with your partner, all those things. You're still going to want them, and they'll just be more beautiful, and you'll be able to appreciate them more because they don't come from a place of lack. They come from a place of plenty and abundance and love. And so, how do we get there? How do we get out of our addiction? Well, you see, essentially, if we can realize that our essential nature, our essential, spirit, crafted by God or the Creator, if you're atheist, just the universe or whatever you want to say, is experientially, we see that, right? It's unchanging, right? Because we've had thoughts, desires, dreams, feelings, sensations that have changed our whole life, but we're still me. If we can see that we have this body and it's changed the whole time, and our environment has changed the whole time, right? But internally, there is an awareness or a soul that sees all those changing and is unchanged, right? It's permanent, it's lasting. And when you investigate its essential nature, right? When you're like, okay, so my thoughts change, my feelings change, my ideas change, my body changes, my environment changes, but still I am aware of it all. That awareness that is aware of those things does not change. It is full, right? And that being or that spirit is not only permanent, so it's lasting, but so we don't have to be like an addict. We don't have to get it or not get it, right? So it's always on. And then, right, if we investigate it, okay, what's the mind like? Well, the mind is, it's constantly changing. But if we investigate our own nature, we're like, it just stays how it is. It's peaceful, right? In contrast to an always changing mind, an always changing world, that consciousness that is aware, right? What is the thing that is aware of your thoughts, that is aware of your feelings? How do you know you're feeling something? What is that? And then don't try to give it a textbook definition. That awareness, right? That the feeling that the lights are on at all, that you are experiencing something, right? Not the, whether or not the wall is a certain color, but when you look at a wall, the fact that the lights are, there's a feeling of what it's like to be someone looking at the wall. The lights are on, right? So that internal light, that, what's it called? That's peaceful. That's just peaceful, right? And so in contrast to an active mind, it's peaceful. And then if we say, okay, well, what else is its nature? Well, if I have a feeling and I understand experientially, I don't need a word or philosophy to know this. I can just simply observe what's going on and that the lights are on at all, right? Observe the awareness that knows that the lights are on. Then you're right. You could be like, okay, well, if I have that, everyone else has that. So it's love, right? I mean, when we have the feeling that I'm over here, that, I'm this guy and that's the enemy over there, right? Then we have, conflict. But if we have that, okay, love, everyone, has that spirit at their core. Okay, well, now we got the love. So we got peace, love, and in contrast to a what's it called? To a mind, right? That's addicted, right? That's lacking something, that has to go desire something. The spirit, as it is, as God made it, is just it's open, it's spacious, and it's full. It's plentiful. It is the container by which all experiences, right, all sights, sounds, tastes, touch, are experienced, right? The fact that that you have an experience of what it's like to be you, seeing things, hearing things, touching things, perceiving things, sensing things, feeling things, right? Thinking things, imagining things, and feeling things. The awareness that knows all that's going on, that is spacious and abundant, right? So your essential spirit is, right, both peaceful, loving, and abundant. And that means, or it lacks nothing. That means, because it's the space in which everything happens. So that means essentially you're just complete. God made you a complete, perfect thing. And so that would leave you not being an addict. Because when you're an addict, you feel you're dependent on the external thing. You're not going to be happy until you get it. You're not complete until you get it. And you're not very peaceful until you get it because you're craving it. You want it. So if you come from a place of completeness in life, right? And addicts, if you're a real bad addict, some people know you're not that you can't be loving, but you're not always loving when you're in addiction. And so for 99% of people, when they're in the addiction of wanting and desire, right, they may not always be as loving as they'd like to be, even if their desire is to be loving. And so from that place of completeness, if you are able to do all those things, then you will appreciate things more. It'll go more smoothly. It'll be wonderful. Your life won't be to go get the joy. It'll be to bring the joy, to bring the love, to bring the service, good works, like talents, to bring the dreams and things into fruition. It'll be to create and not to take. And so I hope this helps, and I hope this kind of shows, one way of experiencing life, right? The egoic way of, being an addict, essentially, to wanting things, and then a complete way of living through the Spirit that God made to go give the joy, to go give, to be as God and Jesus put, a cheerful giver. To go be a cheerful giver of goodness and good times and happiness. I mean, there's this great rock song that goes like, when I get my peace of mind, I will, give you some of my good times. So yeah, when you get your peace of mind, when you get your peace and it pervades your mind and all of your life, then go give it all to everybody because you are complete and you are whole. So I hope you guys enjoyed. God bless and have a wonderful, wonderful